You've now reached 40 points. You looks like you're safe in the Premier League for next season. Are you ready to sit down and talk to the
Yeah, I'll sit down with John and we'll have a chat. John's coming up to Everton this weekend, so yeah, I'll sit down and have a chat. But there's no rush. There's no problems in anything that we do here. And like I say, John keeps me in touch with what the Chinese are thinking. You know what they're the Chinese owners, Mr. Lai and all them. Keep in touch with John. I think they talk 2 or 3 times a week. So there's good communication between them, and I think Mr. Lai's actually over for the Arsenal game as well, and all the the Chinese contingent.
That shock defeat to Palace came as a surprise to a lot of us because you've been doing so well. You'd reached that 40-point mark, and then suddenly a home defeat to Palace, and
we're disappointed. I think if you have a look at the Palace team, I think they're most probably the great underachievers in the league. I think if you have a look at the money they've spent, have a look at their wage bill and everything that they've done there to be in the position they've been in, they are the underachievers, and you expect them to have enough to not be in the position they're in. And we never played to the level that we've played, and I think if you do that in the Premiership, irrespective of who you play against, then you can come and start. The important thing is that we regroup. We've got some really tough games coming up now. We've got 6 out of the top 7 teams to play, and they will be real tough challenges for us. I'm delighted to be on 40 points and have those 6 games coming up, but we've got to try and get as many points as we possibly can and work as hard as we can to do that. But no one should take away what the players have achieved and what they've done. 1 or 2 looked a little bit tired last Saturday, so we'll have a look at it this week, and if it needs 1 or 2 need a little bit of a rest, then we'll do that.
I was going to ask you about that because you've actually kept an unchanged side more than anybody else in the Premier League this season. 10 times you've been unchanged. Does that explain partly why you've not so many injuries, you've been able to be consistent in your selection? Yeah,
I think if you have a look at what we created against Crystal Palace, and the creative players are the ones who really, they're the ones that you really need to be on blob with, and they need to be, fresh mentally as well as physically. They were the ones really that were a little bit short of what they have been of lately, but. Again, we've got some good players, and you don't want to leave good players out. Maybe now and then you have to just give them a little bit of a rest more than anything else.
Is there anybody specific you want to tell us that's got a knock? I mean, Matty Phillips.
Matty Phillips won't be fit, so that's a disappointment for us. We thought he'd be fit for the Everton game. He's been a big miss for us, especially in respect of what he brings to the team. So that's a disappointment again.
Anybody else?
No, we've got 1 or 2 knocks, but I think they'll be okay. I think that if I'm going to make changes, it'll be because of the fact that maybe 1 or 2 need a little bit more of a rest this time round.
Bizarre. You probably thought you'd seen the back of him, but I did an interview with Sido this week where he actually paid tribute to you and to this football club and said that he still loved this football club and was very grateful to it. Said he still owes it a lot. It's easy to say, I suppose, afterwards, but is that nice to hear from your perspective? Maybe he's growing up a little bit.
Sido's now with Stoke City Football Club, and let Stoke City and Sido say what they've got to say in their press conferences. I'd rather talk about West Brom.
Good man. Rob. Good man. Everton are 4 points ahead of you, so if you manage to get a win there, it makes 7th place very achievable, doesn't it?
Yeah, Ronald. I think and Everton are desperate to break into that top 6. I think they've spent quite a bit of money this year. It wouldn't surprise me if they invested heavily again next year to try and get in that group. They are the closest team, without a question of a doubt, to doing that. And we know it'll be tough. They've got a centre forward who scores on a regular basis and is one of the best strikers in the Premier League. And then they've got the quality. The lad Davis has come through this year. Looks an exceptional player. And Barkley looks as though he's at a rich vein of form as well. And you've got Schneiderlin, and you've got the lad Guy, and you just go through their team. They've got some good players, Rob, and they've got good depth as well. So, yeah, they're as close to the 6 as anybody else in this Premiership.
Of course, Albion fans know Lukaku very well. How good is he? How do you stop him?
Well, he's got everything. He's got power and pace. He's he can cause people problems from all areas. He can run at you and take you on and beat you and score. He can score off crosses, you know, and he's instinctive as well in the box. So, you know, he is, as I say, he's one of the top strikers in the Premier League.
And finally, you've reached this 40-point mark, which I know is always the first thing you look to. Now that you've done that so early, what's the final target? Where do you go from here? What do you say to the players next?
Well, like I say, we've got 6 of our 11 games against teams in the top 7, so they're all going to be tough games, or it's going to be a tough run in. And we know that you know, we want to beat last year's tally. We want to get further than that if we can. But the most important thing is concentrating on Everton and going up there and giving a performance and really working hard to get a result for the next game, which is the Arsenal game.